everybody, and welcome into Day 2 of Kong Week. Today we're going to be taking a look at the sequel to the original 1933 film, Son of Kong. Alright, let's talk about Son of Kong. You know, for a sequel to a movie that is as groundbreaking as King Kong, you would think that this movie would get more recognition. But, for some reason, nobody ever seems to talk about this one. Is it because the movie itself is bad, or is there more to it? Well, the only way we're going to find the answer to that is if we take a look at the movie, so let's begin. Believe it or not, this movie was released in 1933, only a few months after the first movie. In fact, it was the exact same year. The storyline of this movie takes place roughly 1 month after the events of the first movie, and it involves Carl Denham being sued by everyone for all the damage that Kong has caused in the first movie. Robert Armstrong once again does a good job playing Carl Denham, with him being like a lot more comedic than he was in the first movie, and Denham begins to develop more as a character in this one than he did in the first movie. Oh, and before I continue onward, I just want to warn you all that I will be spoiling the movie, so continue at your own risk. Anyways, after being faced with the lawsuit upon lawsuits, Carl Denham flees the country along with some of the crew members from the first movie. Eventually they arrive in some port where Carl Denham comes across the guy who had sold him the map to Skull Island in the first place. Some asshole by the name of Niels Hallstrom, who tells Denham and his crew of a buried treasure that lay hidden on Skull Island that could help them turn their fortunes around, per se. Anyways, they all set sail back to Skull Island in search of the buried treasure, while also being joined by some girl who likes Denham. Once they arrive on the island, they are rejected by the islanders after what happened with Kong and are forced to try and find another way onto the island. After they make landfall, we finally get to see the Son of Kong himself. Aww, isn't he just adorable? I just want to give him a big old hug. However, I'm left wondering, if this is supposed to be Kong's son, then who the hell is his mother? And better yet, why is he albino? And why the hell wasn't Kong keeping an eye on him at all in the last movie? Now, unlike his father, Little Kong is a friendly monster who helps to save Denham throughout the movie. And hell, even Denham helps him out too, since he feels guilty over what happened to the original Kong. Now, when Little Kong battles, it's some enjoyable stop-motion work. However, it's not quite as impressive as in the first movie. I blame that on the smaller budget and the rushed production schedule. Speaking of rushed, the whole climax to this movie is probably the most rushed aspect of the entire film. After Denham discovers the treasure that he was looking for, an earthquake just forms right the fuck out of nowhere, and the whole island begins to sink. It's very abrupt, and the only reason it's there in the first place is just to add a ticking clock element to the climax, to make it seem more suspenseful. Anyways, the whole island starts to go under, that asshole Hellstrom gets eaten, which is enjoyable, Denham snags his treasure, and Little Kong sacrifices himself to save Denham. When Little Kong dies, it's actually a pretty sad scene, and I really wish that there was some way that they could have kept him alive. In the end, Denham and that get their treasures, and I guess live happily ever after, or whatever. And that's Son of Kong, a short but harmless movie. It's definitely not as good as the first movie, but in the movie's defense, it's not trying to be as good as the first movie. I wouldn't call it a bad movie by any means. It's a smaller story that goes more for the laughs and not for the bigger thrills. Its problem comes from the fact that it's a very rushed movie and doesn't feel like a good enough follow-up to such a revolutionary film like King Kong was. It's also not a very long movie either. In fact, the movie is only 69 minutes long.
69!
The film is completely harmless. I think that if you were to go into this movie with low expectations, then you will more than likely enjoy this film. The stop-motion work is well done, and you get more Carl Denham, and that is enough to recommend it from me. Alright, well that's all I have to say about Son of Kong. Give it a watch and judge for yourself. Anyways, I'll be back again tomorrow to take a look at King Kong Escapes, so until then, all of you have a great night, and I'll talk to you all later. Be sure to let me know in the comments below what you thought of Son of Kong, and be ready, because tomorrow we're heading to Japan to take a look at King Kong Escapes. Thanks for watching, everybody.